So today I will be highlighting and showing you how to get started on making a liquid syllabus. So a liquid syllabus is essentially a website syllabus. Um, this allows you to transform your PDF syllabus into a mobile-friendly and a little bit easier to send and link. That also allows you to take advantage of the fact that that this is a website and include something like a welcome video directly embedded into your syllabus. So we're going to start with some examples of a liquid syllabus. I have mine here from this semester. I also have Cynthia's for an English class. There are lots of other examples. I definitely recommend, if you're going to get started, to use a combination of your original syllabus as your main content and to follow the format of kind of some examples, any that you feel are useful or relate to your content area. Um, I will be using Google Sites as the site to create your syllabus, but any website will work. Google Sites is just very quick, keeps everything accessible, and will, especially if you already have a Google account. So I'm going to go start by browsing through an example or two. So here we have the home page landing page for a syllabus. We're going to recommend to include kind of a welcome area and a picture or welcome video. For those of you in a purely online asynchronous course, I think a welcome video would be more appropriate. This semester, I personally really don't like creating the videos. I always feel so awkward. And so I stuck with a picture as I had all in-person classes and didn't feel the need to create that video. And so any other information that you want to present right in the beginning. So I have some information about contacting me and some important links down here at the bottom. And so instead of creating, just a scrolling document type, you'll be creating everything as an individual page is probably the best way to use Google Sites and possibly other websites also. So I just have this area with some course essentials and an example of flow of material and just all of the sections of whatever your syllabus might contain. Again, I do like that you can separate out all of these major areas into instead their own pages. Makes what might be, most of us are transforming a syllabus that is quite a few pages long, and it definitely doesn't feel as long in this format. So, standard course description, if you have a complex grading scheme. And again, this is where the advantages of links can come in. And so you can directly link to lots of different campus and outside services. It makes it a little easier to also include some more personal information here. So here's another example. And so this is a welcome video instead. I believe Cynthia for this example is for an asynchronous course. And again, I think that is probably more appropriate for that. If the welcome video is stopping you, which often stops me. And so something that I'm going to borrow from what I see here in our future ones is this idea of a pact. So this is also often tied in with people having kind of more equitable, friendly, welcoming syllabi. And so that is wrapped up in what you'll see here. But essentially, the liquid part about the syllabus does mean that it is a website. It's also make it a little easier to distribute before your semester starts. So again, I'll just click through all of these here. Also, you get options like a search that would be a little bit more difficult to accomplish, and students would have to know that in their PDF or Word document style. So getting started, what do we do? Again, my recommendation is to use your Google account. So you can go directly to sites.google.com for the Google site area, or if you just already are using, you can open up your Google Drive and just add a new Google site right from here. And so I'm going to get you started on creating your first page or two, publishing the site, kind of making sure that works, and then showing you that you can essentially start by copy pasting your standard syllabus over, and then keep in mind some revisions you might want to use, especially with your new, more flexible format. It's in the more, it's a little bit less popular. So you're just going to create a new Google site. You'll see that that will add it into this folder. Maybe when I save it, we'll see what happens there. And so I'm going to create one for my statistics course, Math 110, in spring of 21. So you can see that's our site name now. And so you can focus on this original banner or header here. This format will automatically be on the top of each page. So I can start with our title. Let's say Math 110. Just going to call it statistics. You can change around the font, the colors. I personally just use a theme. I am, not trying to, as long as this looks good enough, I think that's fine. So let's say we choose this diplomat theme. The image in the background here is something, so they have a few ones we can just grab initially. Let's say we have this nice computer and coffee. You can make sure that it's legible, change the colors, change the font style. This is, you'll have limited options. This is not a full kind of text editing style, but there are quite a bit of options still. So we can say light or classic font. And then in this area, anytime you're editing text, you have a text editor here to change anything around. Right, looks okay. It's a little hard to read. Maybe I don't know if I want to try a slightly different image. It's another computer and coffee one, I think. Right, that looks a little better. It changed around the colors. It does that on its own, and then you can go back and if you don't like how that turned out. Right, so again, you can transfer most of what you have, especially creating your first one. I think that's most straightforward. And so after you've picked a theme, that'll dictate some of your color choices and your fonts of these headers. This one will have this little box. The box will, on the real site, the box will scroll kind of with you and it's above the image there. And so now we can add our content. And so here are all the areas of all the options for content. So I'm going to start off with an image and then some text, kind of recreating my rough outline of a syllabus over here. And so if I'm going to go and maybe upload this Bitmoji of myself, again, everything is pretty intuitive to adjust. You do work on it like you would PowerPoint or other kind of editing, and then the text editing works well enough. So let's say, welcome to statistics. Spell that right. Statistics, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and copy over my welcome message. You can rearrange, change the font if this isn't appropriate, whatever looks good. And so I might want to add a divider for visuals and include the rest of this on the same page here. If I feel I just maybe need a text box instead of a specific format, or I can create a multiple column format here, or I can just add a text box. You can also, So off to the left-hand side, you have a menu to move around, change some colors. Also, if you just double-click, you get that menu screen that's up here. You can add a text box that way. So I'm going to copy and paste this over. I can change these back to headings in case it didn't copy it right. It will keep your color theme consistent. So it looks reasonable. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that in for now. And then I'm going to insert another page. So it's going to be our home page. And I might want to, I have this section here on kind of an overview of the course. I've called that my essentials area. So now we have a menu screen up at the, we have the names of our pages up here. And now it's navigated us already to the essentials page, and we can begin editing. Here it sounds like I just might need one big text box. So I'm going to go back and insert a text box. Can maybe copy paste all of this. And it didn't copy over our headings, so I can work on that. All right, and so you can see it's going to copy the same font color choices over, which you can adjust, but that looks fine. So if there's any detailed content, you can always work on that in a document and then transfer that over instead. Or you could, I've essentially started working much more directly in the Google Sites, and I only as a backup for when I need to provide a PDF, do I make a Word document. And so I can continue entering all my other ones. You'll probably have a grading area, maybe some general policies, maybe a little about you section. And then now we have all of our pages, which I can also rearrange how they show up by reading that here. You can also create subpages if you want to get a little more interesting. So if policies is part of your grading option, we can create it as an option here. And so you can also create a slightly smaller menu area if you prefer that. All right, so you've entered most. You want to see what it looks like. You're going to then publish it. You can choose your name, and so it'll be sites.google view / and then the name. You probably want to include something so that when you make these every semester, you're not reusing a title. So then Math 110, Spring 21. You're also going to need to adjust that everyone can see it. So let me start over with that. So I can publish. And then when you want to share it with others, you are going to need to make sure in the links area. So if you Google Docs, this will be familiar. And so I went ahead and made that correct, but you just want to verify. Sometimes it seems like this changes, right? It probably doesn't, but. And so you can also just copy the direct link for this. And so now we can see what it looks like. And again, this is accessible with this link already. You can see this is published. And one of the nicest things about these also is I feel that they are much cleaner looking, or very clean and nice looking right off the bat. And so they kind of really jazz up just how things look. So these are mobile friendly. In the mobile view, if this menu screen is really small, this will turn into just kind of that 3-line menu, and then they'll be able to view it that way. Right, and so earlier, so now you can see this just in your Google Drive area. If you instead made it from your Google Sites homepage, that's where it'll show up. And so we'll also be sharing all of these steps in a nice Canvas module system. And so here, let me get the name right. So Michelle Pacansky-Brock, I believe I got that right, is one of the um, innovators in this liquid syllabus area. So it's also a very popular way to make our syllabi, especially I think the context is often those online courses, and to, in general also though, is to really connect with students before class begins. Um, and so this is, you can go through here and kind of have all of these same steps. And so you don't have to memorize and rewatch this video here. So we'll send out this link. As you can see, the first thing is probably to make that header. That's going to follow the structure on every page. So make sure you're okay with that, how that looks. Add a welcome video. Like I said, if you're in an in-person class, it's probably fine to definitely just use a picture. If you're like me and those welcome videos are anxiety inducing. There's some recommendations on what to include. So kind of just go back and show the general idea there. They have some nice idea of how to make sure your language is welcoming and warm. That's been shown that students who feel a syllabus has a warm, welcoming tone are more likely to utilize and reach out to you and other services. To give you some concrete examples. And I continually come back to this Canvas page for examples also. Okay, where did the examples go? Examples, scrolled way too far. And so there are a large list of examples here. Fabiola Torres is one I've seen multiple places from Glendale College, I believe. And so you can also create a liquid syllabus that is for multiple courses, kind of just like a home page for all of your stuff. And you can get you can do a lot with this, but thankfully creating that initial one for one class is not too much more work than your original syllabus. All right, thanks for sticking around. So I will be at our time tomorrow at 2 or our Tuesday at 2. And feel free to also reach out if you're going through this and have any questions. And again, thanks for watching this.